morning. Good morning. Warm greetings to everyone. So we're going to start our webinar for this morning. I am Dr. Roberta N. Garcia. I will be your MC for this activity. As an offshoot of the synchronous sessions of our Biotechnology for Everyone online course for high school teachers in the senior high, science high school teachers, and also in celebration of our 50th anniversary, the Philippine Society of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology, we are offering you this webinar. So the PSBMB Education Committee, in collaboration with the PSBMB Visayas chapter, is giving you this seminar today. So we have it entitled as Breaking Ground, the Tales of Two Premier BMB Laboratories in the Visayas. So we are showcasing the Visayas two Visayas universities for this webinar. We will hear the remarkable stories of Dr. Geraldine P. Moncada and of UEP, and Dr. Stephen G. Sabina of the Western Visayas State University, who braved the odds to build the first biochemistry and molecular biology laboratories in their respective universities. We will hear their groundbreaking work, remarkable achievements, and invaluable contributions to the field. At this point, may I recognize the presence of our president of the PSBMB, Dr. or Academician Mujikiwi D. Santos, our esteemed guest speaker from our collaborator in the Biotech online course, Dr. Claro N. Mingala, co-PSBMB board members and members of the PSBMB Education Committee and the PSBMB Biotech IEC Committee, as well as members of the Visayas chapter, our co-members in the PSBMB, and everybody in the Zoom room and in our live streaming in YouTube and our Facebook page. To start our program, let us hear from Academician Mujikiwi D. Santos, our PSBMB president, for his welcome remarks. Dr. Mujikiwi Dalisay Santos, or as he wants him to be called, Doc Muji, is a fisheries scientist and marine biologist, widely recognized for his work on utilizing genetics resources, assessment, and policy studies to support fisheries management and aquaculture for food security, biodiversity conservation, and climate change adaptation in the country. He is a conferred scientist at the National Fisheries Research and Development Institute, an academician of the National Academy of Science and Technology, Philippines, a faculty of the Graduate School of the University of Santo Tomas, and affiliate professor 6 at the Central Luzon State University. He has authored and co-authored over 100 scientific articles, book chapters, and books, and is currently the editor-in-chief of the Philippine Journal of Fisheries, a section editor of the Philippine Agricultural Scientists, and an editor of the Fisheries Science. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome President Muji Santos. Sir Muji, the virtual floor is yours.
Hello everyone. Magandang umaga po. Thank you very much, Ma'am Beth. Kamusta po ang lahat? Welcome to this live virtual webinar po tungkol sa tales of two premier BMB laboratories in the Visayas. Kanina pinapakinggan ko si Ma'am Beth doon sa kanyang introductory talk. hindi pa man nai-inspire na ako dun sa dun sa ipipresent sa atin ng ating dalawang speakers. Of course, this is brought to you by the PSBMB Education Committee headed by Ma'am Beth. Palakpakan po natin si Ma'am Beth at ang entire Education Committee. And of course, yung
Thank you
ating
po.
PSBMB Visayas chapter, yung ating president, si Ma'am Vibs. Hi, Ma'am Vibs. At 10 po ng lahat ng bumubuo ng BOD ng Visayas chapter. Siyempre, kailangan pong i-shout out yung ating partner. Nandito si Sir Claro Bong Mingala, Director po ng Biotechnology Program Office ng Department of Agriculture. Sir Bong, incidentally, life member po siya ng PSBMB. Kaya full support po sa ating mga work ang BPO at lalong-lalo na doon sa ating 50th convention na Sir Bong. Asahan namin kayo pagdating ng November. Ayan. Of course, shout out din sa ating dalawang speakers kay Dr. Geraldine Kada of the University of Eastern Philippines. Ma'am Geraldine, thank you po. Of course, kay Dr. Stephen Sabinay ng West Visayas State University. Sir Stephen, member na ba sila, Ma'am Vibs? So,
yes, Dr. Sabinay is a member. And
Yeah.
probably Dr. Mungkada is a member sa national. Pero
Ayan.
i-pirate namin siya dito
Sige po.
sa Visayas.
At kailangan life
Thank you,
member.
Thank you, Ate Vibs.
And of course, sa ating po mga dear participants, no, I'm sure this will be a fun-filled and productive and informative webinar. Talking about experiences kung paano dinevelop po ng dalawang universities na yung kanilang BMB, no. And to me, yeah, we hear no talks about research results and stuff like that, but I feel it's equally important to talk about yung tinatawag nating enabling mechanisms on how we can really, push for biochemistry and molecular biology education and that field to really flourish in the country. Tayo po sa PSBMB, yung entire family ng PSBMB, ang advocacy po natin really is yun nga to use yung biochemistry and molecular biology, which includes biotechnology, on how we can harness po yung mga tools na yan para po ma-realize natin yung potential ng Pilipinas. Some time ago, na-evaluate po yung sa marine resources pa lang po natin, na-evaluate na it's about $1 trillion yung potential in terms of the blue economy kung tawagin. And unfortunately, hindi pa natin siya nare-realize. Just a case in point, alam natin yung story about how National Scientist Luli Cruz and Professor Baldomero Oliveira was able to jumpstart yung development ng pain reliever drug, kung tawagin ay Prialt, which came from the conotoxin of a cone snail, which was discovered in the Philippines. And it's now a multi-billion-dollar industry. And we do have lots of genetic resources in our country. Tinawag nga tayong Center of Marine Biodiversity. So you can just imagine yung potential po ng Pilipinas. Kailangan lang nating i-harness yon, and these kinds of webinar and yung stories na ipapakita sa atin nila Sir Stephen, nila Ma'am Geraldine would really help in that aspect, para ma-inspire lalo at ma-motivate yung kapwa nating mga Filipinos, students and teachers to go into biochemistry and molecular biology kasi meron ganitong mga klaseng support. Kasi sa totoo lang talagang andyan yung potential. Kailangan lang nating i-push So I'm really happy that these kinds of webinar ay nangyayari and sana mas dumami pa yung ganitong klaseng webinar. Kasi for one, just knowing na meron palang ganitong mga naumpisahang mga laboratory sa Visayas is really, inspiring and encouraging kasi nga, ay okay, so mahirap din kasing puro Manila na lang pupunta yung mga tao. Pamasahe pa lang, ang mahal-mahal na. But we really need to develop this local expertise. Kasi nga, napaka-diverse ng Philippines, iba yung sa norte, iba yung sa sentro, iba yung sa south, no? Iba yung sa east, iba yung sa west. So we need to develop this local expertise for us to really be able to contribute to harnessing that potential ng Philippines. Sa totoo lang, mayaman talaga ang Pilipinas eh. Hindi lang nare-realize yun. Dapat like mo ang binabanggit, dapat walang mahirap na fisher folk. Unfortunately, the fishery sector is one of the poorest of the poor sectors. We're 80% water and the fifth longest coastline in the world, center of marine biodiversity. So dapat tayo is at the forefront of all these things. Kaya lang yun nga, kulang pa. And I think these kinds of webinars, yung ating push sa PSBMB to educate people, students, teachers on the power of biochemistry and molecular biology, including biotechnology. May push lang natin yun. I'm sure yung susunod na national scientist, Luli Cruz, and yung susunod na Baldomero Olivera, ay mangyayari po yun. At may inspire tayong mga young Filipinos to move in this field of expertise. So, yun lang po. With this, sana I hope na tayo pong lahat magtulong-tulong. Push po natin to, push ng push. Wala pong bibitaw hanggat hindi po tayo nakaka-develop ng isa pa o dalawa pang chronotoxin or prialt and many other things. So tuloy-tuloy lang po. And if I may, as a parting message, invite ko na po ang lahat sa ating PSBMB 50th Convention on November 28, 29, 2023 sa Manila Hotel po tayo. And doon po, mas marami pang mga exciting new developments on BMB ang pag-uusapan. So we do hope that you'll be able to attend that one. We'll be announcing soon yung ating mga call for abstracts and other details of that. So watch for it. So with that, again, congratulations na po sa lahat. And thank you for all the efforts, Ma'am Beth and Ma'am Vivian. And again, tuloy-tuloy lang po tayo dito. Maraming salamat po and good morning sa lahat.
Thank you, Doc Muji. So let's give our virtual applause to Sir Muji. And now you have heard him emphasize the need to build up loves in other regions of the Philippines. So we give the challenge to you as he posed it to us. And he also glimpse of the breakthroughs that molecular biology researchers gave and will give to the Philippines. And remember that multi-billion-dollar chronotoxin business now, which was spearheaded by our very own national scientist, Dr. Luli Cruz and Dr. Baldomero. And now, at this point, I would like to introduce to you the Executive Director of the BA Biotechnology Program Office to give us a special message. Dr. Claro N. Mingala is a scientist for and concurrently holds the position of Deputy Executive Director of the Philippine Carabao Center. A doctor of veterinary medicine, he is widely renowned for his contributions in the fields of veterinary immunology, microbiology, molecular biology, and public health. He also developed DNA-based and rapid diagnostic tools for economically important animal diseases. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Dr. Claro N. Mingala, the Executive Director of DA-BPO. Dr. Mingala, the virtual floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Beth Garcia, for that very generous introduction. Thank you very much, Dr. Muji, Academician Santos, for having me for today's activity. And of course, I assure you of the support from DABPO to all the activities that the PSBMB would be having now and in the near future. Okay, so magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. And masaya po ako dahil naririto naman po tayo ngayon para magsama-sama for another worthwhile activity of the PSBMB. To the lead organizer again, Dr. Santos, thank you for organizing this very interesting activity focused on the researcher's journey to establishing molecular laboratories for the advancement of research and development. The field of molecular biology has been growing rapidly in recent 3 years. And with it, the need for specialized laboratories capable of handling sophisticated equipment and techniques. However, setting up a molecular laboratory is not without its challenges, ranging from sourcing funding and equipment to hiring skilled personnel and meeting laboratory standards. Nowadays, probably all of the laboratories that we have is now gearing towards recognition of international bodies. Despite these challenges, there are several approaches that can be taken to establish a successful molecular laboratory. This includes collaborating with other research institutions, partnering with private industry, and seeking out government grants and funding. That's why the presence of the Department of Agriculture Biotechnology Program Office is a very good opportunity, not only for the academe, but also for other research agencies to come up with a good laboratory, especially a molecular laboratory, molecular biology laboratory. Additionally, identifying a specific research niche can help to establish a laboratory's expertise and attract collaborators and funding opportunities. The constant advancement in technology, molecular laboratories have the potential to expand research capabilities and enhance scientific endeavors or discoveries. As for research niches, there are many exciting topics, cutting-edge research in areas such as synthetic biology and gene editing. Genomics and proteomics are rapidly evolving fields that offer new insights into the functions and interactions of genes and proteins. So whether you're a seasoned researcher or just starting out in the field, there's no shortage of exciting possibilities to explore in the world of molecular biology and laboratory establishments. I would like also to take this opportunity to promote, of course, again, the Department of Agriculture Biotechnology Program. We are a funding office that supports the establishment of biotech laboratories for research and development and building capacities of research institutions to include SUCs or the academe through grants. Our goal is to foster collaboration and knowledge sharing where researchers and institutions can come together to develop cutting-edge solutions to some of the most pressing challenges in agriculture sector using molecular biology and biotechnology tools. So the worthwhile research endeavors that you will be having, and of course, with the help of the Department of Agriculture Biotechnology Program Office, should really answer the gaps of the agricultural industry or agricultural sector. Not only finishing into a published papers, but also a technology that can be used by our partner farmers in the field. Should you have any interest to know more about the program, you may email us at biotechpiu@gmail.com. Again, I would like to encourage everyone here to break the barriers and challenges. Use your institution's strength in R&D. Create research niches, build network and collaborations, and explore funding opportunities. I hope that the success stories of the two resource speakers for today will inspire you to do the same for your institution. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat at patuloy po sana tayo magsama-sama para masagot po natin ang mga suliranin ng industriya ng pagsasaka. Thank you very much at maayong buntag sa ating lahat.
Thank you very much, Sir Bong, for that very insightful and encouraging message to all of us. So now, my dear colleagues in the webinar, let us all accept the challenge of Dr. Mingala and think of very, how to say, researches that would really move forward the agriculture industry of our country. So he has lined up to us what are the challenges as well as the approaches and how to build collaborations and especially request funding from their very good office, which is always behind the PSBMB in many endeavors. Thank you again, Dr. Claro and Mingala. Let us now move on to our webinar speakers. Our moderator for today is Dr. Vivian Azucena Topor. Dr. Topor is an Associate Professor 7 at the Department of Chemistry, College of Arts and Sciences at the University of the Philippines, Visayas. She is currently the President of the PSBMB Visayas Chapter, the Executive Vice President, Philippine Association of Chemistry Teachers, Region 6, a member of the Board of Directors of the Western Visayas Association of Filipino Investors Incorporated, and past Board of Director of the Integrated Chemists of the Philippines, Panay Chapter Incorporated. Dr. Vivian, the virtual floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Truly, it's a pleasant day for all of us. Thank you for starting this week with this webinar. And we really appreciate you joining us today. And I'd like to also take a moment and extend my gratitude to Dr. Beth for allowing us to be the co-organizer of this webinar. Now, our speakers have been introduced, but I will be introducing them, each one as before they give their presentation later. They will be given about 30 minutes each, and after that, we will have the Q&A at the end of the two sessions. If you have any questions during the webinar, during the presentation, please feel free to type them in the chat box. We will address these questions during the open forum. By the end of our time today, we hope that you will feel more comfortable and confident about pioneering laboratories, not only in the Visayas, but I know there are friends and colleagues that are in the Upper Luzon area and also in the Mindanao area. So according to Dr. Mingala, there is no shortage of exciting opportunities. And truly, the challenge is for us to take. So let's hear from our two speakers what they went through, how they braved the storm, and as the webinar title tells us, how they break ground, no, in order to have their laboratories established. There will be exciting stories from them that they will share with us today, and we believe that this can help us brave our storm as well. So let's start with our first speaker. Dr. Geraldine P. Moncada, who will be speaking on the creation of the UEPIRL, University of Eastern Philippines Integrated Research Laboratory, and its newfound niche in molecular aquatic biodiversity research in the Samar Island. Dr. Moncada is an associate professor at the Department of Biological Sciences, College of Science, University of Eastern Philippines in Catarman, Northern Samar. She holds an MS and PhD degrees in molecular biology and biotechnology with a cognate in biochemistry, both from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. She was a PhD CHED FDP scholar, a former visiting scholar at the Pennsylvania State University, a Mashab scholar at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, and a licensed professional teacher with a BS in secondary education units and a diploma degree in science teaching, major in biology through the UP Open University. In research, she has an experience in genomics, transcriptomics, and bioinformatics, particularly on Abaca-Banchitap virus resistance. She is also into eDNA metabarcoding and molecular ecology. In this presentation, she will give us a fulfilling yet challenging journey to the story and the creation of a growing genomics facility at the Integrated Research Laboratory of the University of Eastern Philippines main campus, University Town, Catarman, Northern Samar, which is being made possible by the National Research Council of the Philippines through the SALOG or the Saganang Buhay sa Ilog program and the University of Eastern Philippines. Dr. Moncada, you may have now the virtual floor.
Welcome as I present to you the creation of the UEPIRL and its newfound niche in molecular aquatic biodiversity in the Samar Island. The UEPIRL is a newly established research laboratory at the University of Eastern Philippines main campus. This was created through the Board of Regents Resolution number 43, approved on November 11, 2020. This laboratory is a research arm under the Office of the Vice President for Research, Development and Extension Services, headed by Dr. Karina Milagros C. Lim. The idea of establishing a research laboratory that will serve as the central laboratory of the university for research needs of both students and faculty was a 3-year conceptualization process began by a brief meeting between Dr. Geraldine P. Moncada and the former 2018 URDS director, Dr. Pio P. Tuan. With the support of the late UEP president, Dr. Rolando A. De Lagrino, an old Australian building at the URDS compound was renovated from Typhoon Nuna funds to become the IRL building. The newly renovated Integrated Research Laboratory building was blessed by Reverend Monsignor Gaspar Balerete under the new leadership of Dr. Cherry I. Ultra on January 15, 2020, and was attended by UEP officials, faculty, URDS staff, and IRL staff. Today, the Integrated Research Laboratory has a genomics facility made possible through funding from the National Research Council of the Philippines. The first project running at IRL under the SALOG or Saganang Buhay sa Ilog program is led by Dr. Ronely C. Salvador. UEP IRL's vision. The University of Eastern Philippines Integrated Research Laboratory will be a center of excellence in research in agro-environmental, life sciences, and allied fields, and will produce a pool of well-trained professionals or scientists who will respond to science and interdisciplinary issues confronting the development path of the country. UEP IRL's mission. The UEP IRL will promote the conservation and the utilization of the unexplored biological and geological heritage of the province of Northern Samar. We will introduce students to career opportunities by providing them access and accelerated exposure at the laboratory through trainings, research, and consultation work by developing in them specialized laboratory skills required in the knowledge industry. The Integrated Research Laboratory thrusts research, science skills training development, laboratory services and mentoring, and science advocacy, promotion of science and technology. This is the University of Eastern Philippines Integrated Research Laboratory Advisory Board. The Advisory Board of the UEP-IRL is headed by the UEP President, Dr. Cherry I. Ultra. Members of the Advisory Board are the following: Dr. Karina Milagros Arqui Lim, the Vice President for Research, Development, and Extension, and in concurrent also is the Dean of the College of Science. Dr. P.O.P. Tuwan, former Vice President for Research, Development, and Extension, and the current Dean of the College of Agriculture, Fisheries, and Natural Resources. Dr. Ronely C. Salvador, former Director for Research and previous Dean of the College of Agriculture, Fisheries, and Natural Resources. Dr. Vinicio R. Ultra Jr., Associate Professor from Botswana International University of Science and Technology. Dr. Rita A. Laude, Professor Emeritus of the Institute of Biological Sciences, University of the Philippines, Los Baños. Dr. Antonio C. Lorena, Program Director of the Philippine Genome Center of Agriculture from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. Dr. Presente A. Cordero, former Executive Director, National Research Council of the Philippines. Dr. John A. Carlson, the Schatz Center for Tree Molecular Genetics of the Pennsylvania State University.
The world is constantly evolving and we need to keep up with the pace of change. In order to do that, we need to be constantly innovate and push the boundaries of knowledge. One way to achieve this is through research. Research is critical for the growth and development of any institution and for the betterment of society as a whole. The University of Eastern Philippines Integrated Research Laboratory can play a crucial role in this process. It can provide space for students, faculty members, and researchers to work collaboratively on cutting-edge research projects. This type of laboratory can bring together different disciplines and fields of study, fostering interdisciplinary collaboration and opening up new avenues of research. In a higher institution, UEP IRL can be the cornerstone of the research enterprise. It can provide a platform for faculty members to pursue their research interests and for students to gain hands-on experience in the research process. This laboratory can also serve as a hub for industry partnerships and collaborations, providing students with access to real-world problems and challenges. For the student researchers, the UEP IRL can be a transformative experience. It can offer them a chance to work on meaningful research projects, gaining practical experience in research, methodology, and data analysis. This laboratory can also provide them with opportunities for mentorship and networking, connecting them with experts in their fields and opening up career pathways. In addition, the UEP IRL can help to foster a culture of innovation and creativity by providing students and faculty members and other stakeholders with a collaborative and supportive environment. Thank you.
said that no independent nation in the modern age can maintain a civilized way of life unless it is well served by its universities. And no university nowadays can succeed in its double aim of high education and the pursuit of knowledge without the goodwill and support of the government of the country. Governments are therefore bound to give universities the assistance needed to effectively perform their functions. In turn, universities are bound to be vigilant to determine the service needed by the community, which are necessities of the age, according to Gallagher 2001. With the academic and technical preparations obtained from previous trainings and relevant degree programs of UAP faculty, the advocacy of former Senator Angara for a country built on technology and recently manpower, the only chance to put to maximum use of all of these trainings would be to find relevant related venue for such continuing activities as adhered to. As William Shakespeare puts it, strong reasons make strong actions. IRL hopes to sail with UAP in its journey toward the attainment of its mission. Indeed, it will be proactive to trends and priorities for development of the university toward excellent and relevant service. It will endeavor to infuse significant interventions for UAP by producing scientists and science educators in the province of Northern Samar and deliver researches of high impact to the university. Today, UAP-IRL comes closer to the mission of the present administration of President Cherry I. Ultra to conduct advanced scientific researches as manifested in the National Research Council of the Philippines funded project and other upcoming projects. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mungkada. Truly, in a nutshell, I would like to say, sana all. No? Sana all. So, Ma'am Gigi, I think get ready for the question and answer later after the second presentation, after Dr. Binay's presentation. Ang ganda. No, and truly, what you are doing there, you are not only training or preparing your students, undergraduate and graduate students. In fact, there are also honor graduate students. What a nice way to be part of the training of the students. Likewise, you are doing your quota in research as well as in extension. Very nice. Later in the Q&A, probably I would like to know about the salog, more about the salog. Okay. At this point, we are going to have a short break for probably 5 minutes. But in the meantime, as earlier mentioned, we would like to invite you to celebrate with us the 50 years of groundbreaking achievements of biochemistry and molecular biology in the Philippines with PSBMB. Join us for a series of exciting events leading up to our annual convention on November 28 and 29, 2023. From educational seminars and interactive workshops to inspiring talks and panel discussions, there's something for everyone. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to be part of the future of science and technology in the Philippines. Follow the 5 decades through the stories from the beginnings, the challenges, the progress, the changes, and the future. Watch the short video about the beginnings of PSBMB. So, Ma'am Chan, okay.
It was national scientist Clara Lim Siliangco who initiated the Philippines Biochemical Society. And this happened after she was invited to a meeting of biochemists, international biochemists, in order to talk about forming a federation of biochemical societies international. And the biochemical societies, the federation, will be part of the International Union of Biochemistry.
So when I came back from University of Massachusetts in October 1974, I joined the UP Manila Department of Biochemistry. And my first role in PBS, major role, was to lead a seminar workshop on simplified laboratory techniques to promote and strengthen biochem as a discipline through upgrading of teaching biochemistry in colleges throughout the country. This is also to attract students and faculty to pursue advanced degree programs in biochemistry.
After the meeting, international meeting of biochemists that she attended, she gathered us, her former students, and she talked about forming a society of biochemistry.
So how did we do it? Well, the first trial of the lab techniques was at UPLB, home base. No? And after that, we brought it to many parts of the country so that our faculty members and other researchers could attend, no? From the neighboring towns and provinces.
Many of the teachers in biochemistry and medical schools are not really biochemistry majors. And so at that time, there was really a lack of biochemistry teachers. So we would hold summer workshops, inviting teachers. This is summer workshops for teachers of biochemistry. The trend actually came from the international scientific community. Then the International Union of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology decided to expand it to International Union of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology.
Then the second, we prepared biochemistry course outline. So we were already thinking of standardizing, putting a standard that is somewhat up or at par with those in other countries. So we prepared a biochemistry course outline, which can be followed and used by the schools throughout the country. And also our members, PSBMB members, PBS members, PSB members, in the respective colleges and universities, improve their curricular programs in biochemistry. And in the late 1980s, 1990s, and in the 1990s, the BS, MS, and PhD programs in molecular biology and biotechnology were instituted or established at UP Diliman. And at UB Los Baños, the MS and PhD programs in the 1990s. And of course, we have to acknowledge also that UST was way ahead with the BS Biochemistry curricular program?
The Biochemical Society has members who are not chemists. Andyan yung mga nagtuturo, nag-join na yung mga nagtuturo ng biochemistry, who are not chemists, yung iba medical doctors, there are pharmacists, there are biologists. So parang it's more interdisciplinary.
Now it's going to 50. This has become possible through the efforts, hard work, and love for PSBMB and what it stands for by its members and officers, and support from various sectors. And so from then on, we have been very active in the FAO-BNB and IUNB activities, and we even have an IUBNB education seminar workshop at UP Manila. Well, I think PSBMB, through its officers and members, have shown through the years that it can deliver its primary objectives. So I think PSBMB can deliver, but I would like to emphasize, put now more emphasis on how biochemistry could be utilized for the improvement of the socioeconomic and health conditions of our country.
Thank you very much. And I hope that that sparked your interest to join us in all the activities of PSBMB, most especially on the 50th Annual Convention on November 28-29 at the Manila Hotel. Now, before I proceed, may I say that there are 85 strong researchers and scientists or would-be researchers, would-be scientists in the hall as of this time. Thank you very much. And a shout out, that's the term nowadays, a shout out to one of the most hardworking, patient, and most sought after advisor, teacher of both Ma'am Geraldine Moncada and even our next speaker, Dr. Sabinay, and myself. No, I would like to acknowledge Dr. Tony Laurena, who is here and who will be watching this video later on. Sir Tony, thank you very much for being a part of our career, no, of our profession. So let's go to the second lecture now. Our second lecturer is, or presenter is Dr. Stephen G. Sabinay, who will be speaking on establishing the first West Visayas State University Research Lab, challenges and approaches. Dr. Sabinay obtained his PhD in molecular biology and biotechnology at UP Los Baños in 2016. He is currently an associate professor at West Visayas State University, where he teaches chemistry, molecular biology, and biotechnology subjects in the undergraduate and graduate level. He is currently the lab head of the Biotechnology and Biomedical Research Lab at the College of Medicine. His current research interests include the use of molecular markers in determining the genetic diversity of native chicken, genetic profiling of retinoblastoma patients, whole genome sequencing of SARS-CoV-2 using Oxford Nanopore Minlon sequencer, and the application of automated systems in the optimization of molecular biology workflow for medical diagnostics. Ladies and gentlemen, let's now give the virtual floor to Dr. Sabinay.
Good morning, mayong aga, and thank you po, Ma'am Vivian, dun sa introduction. Please allow me to share my screen. Okay. Okay. Just check po my audio and my presentation. Is it okay?
Yes, Sir Steph.
Okay. So first of all, I would like to greet po muna or to all the participants and specifically to Sir Tony Laurena. We haven't met and haven't talked for quite a while, and also I would like to thank Ma'am Beth Garcia for inviting me. Although I usually don't do meetings on Monday kasi inahatid ko kasi yung kids ko sa school. But this is an exception because I was invited by the lab which nurtured me when I was in UPLB. It also gave me an opportunity to think back to what I have done in the last 5 years, which I haven't really thought about. Wala pa akong sinusulat. And so while I was on the bus going back to Iloilo and trying to visualize what I will be presenting, and suddenly I had realized that a lot of things have already happened. Now, so the title of my talk is on the establishing the first WBCO Research Lab Challenges and Approaches. We are an SUC State University and College, and we're not UP, so I probably would talk in the point of view of somebody who started a lab without that grant opportunities that UP have. So I have outlined my presentation into the following, and of course, I would probably start with my graduate school life at UPLB because that is where it all started. The idea of setting up your own lab only reflects you enjoyed your stay. I enjoyed my stay at the biochemistry lab at IPB in such a way that I want to copy what they have and bring it here. It was my second home, so I want to make a replica of that second home. And then I want to talk about the feeling lucky with the first grant and starting a small lab. Saan po nagsimula yung unang pondo ko and how I built the small lab. Then followed by getting the second and the third grant, which eventually led for the establishment of the College of Medicine Research Lab, where I am today. Also, I would like to give an overview of the College of Medicine, Biotechnology, and Biomedical Research Lab, our current capabilities, the people behind it, our accomplishments, initial accomplishments, and then of course, lastly, the challenges. So I will probably discuss the challenges along the way. Okay, so where it all started. Of course, I started out 2007. I applied as a graduate student at UPLB, first as an MS-MBB, then finally as a PhD. During that time, Academician Mendoza was the program head of the MBB, and she knows my background that my initial application was actually for PhD. But since my master's degree is in chemistry, marami akong mga prerequisite subject na need to take from the MS program, so I demoted my PhD application to MS and also to get a scholarship. And then 2 years after I completed all the academic requirements, she suggested that I should apply now for the PhD program, which I did, and I also talked to DOST since I was a DOST PCHRD scholar. And one thing led to another. They approved my transfer to the program, so they added 2 additional years of scholarship. And here are some of the pictures which I took from Dr. Sandoval's Facebook page. I don't have a copy of pictures during that time. And so this is just one of those moments that I spent with my classmates and how we work hard in the lab. Not only inside the lab, but also may mga travel then, of course, once in a while. Doon ko natutunan sa UPLB yung rigorous rigor of doing science, also the atmosphere of camaraderie in the biochemistry lab, the appreciation of good food and travel. I don't have actually a legitimate graduation picture, so that's why I keep on using the pictures that I give to everyone. I'm in a lab con. I don't have a legitimate graduation picture. So I brought my family during my graduation, my wife, and then that time I have two small kids now, tatlo na sila, puro lalaki, and I would like to say hi to them, Zedric, Xander, and Zyler, and my wife, Zenda Marie. And I spent 9 years at UPLB. And of course, those 9 years are very memorable. And for some, probably they might think that, okay, so I'm a delayed student, but for me, during those 9 years, learning is continuous. Kahit na sabihin na natin delayed ako or there was some glitches in my experiment, but I kept on learning from the good practices on how the biochem lab was operating. And those things I cannot, hindi ko yon malilimutan. Okay, so also I would like to, I recall that I got a grant when I was a PhD student, and actually that was my very first funding. It was a DA Biotech grant in support of my dissertation. And Sir Tony was the project leader. He was kind enough to accept the offer. I made for him that kung pwede ay siya na muna mag-project leader kasi I was still a graduate student during at that time, but it was my dissertation actually. So we had a 1.5 million grant with that. And nakabili po kami ng thermal cycler, isang set ng micropipettor at gel electrophoresis na siyang binigay sa akin ni Sir Tony at the end of the project na ginamit ko dito sa pag-set up ng lab sa Iloilo. So that was my very, very first grant, no? And then I graduated 2016. And when you are a molecular biology graduate, of course, you need to have a wet lab to practice your craft. And at that time, West Visayas State University does not have any facility except for some donated items from DOST long time ago na hindi nagamit kasi nobody knows how to use it. For example, the small biorad gel electrophoresis. And so after graduation, I spent a lot of time looking for grants. And then the former research director, Dr. Gabinetti, forwarded to me an email regarding the invitation call for proposal from CHED. So there was already the K-12 transition during that time. And CHED had some programs called Institutional Development and Innovation Grant during that transition for those faculty na walang teaching load and wants to continue their study or do some research. And so I submitted a proposal for this call, and I was granted 11.5 M. So this is the first grant actually for me as a project leader, no, as the main proponent. So it was way back on 2017. So that 11.5 is actually big for us. And I was able to complete the entire molecular biology workflow. So kasi PCR machine lang yung meron eh. I don't have a gel doc. I don't have a spectrophotometer to quantify the DNA isolated. I don't have a high-speed centrifuge. So with that grant, I was able to purchase all the basic equipment for me to complete the molecular biology workflow. And the lab was actually transiently located at our technology business incubation building. No, so there was a small lab space there, and I was actually was good enough that the former department chairman, Dr. Gerard Pilsilla, allowed me to use that space for building the lab. And makikita nyo sa pictures, I have some medical students working. I have basic equipment, laminar flow hood. But as you can see, medyo crowded kasi I only have those two center table where we can work, and then some office tables. So hindi siya talagang designed for a legitimate research lab. But even though maliit ang space namin, we had a lot of several hands-on training for our graduate students, the PhD science education major and biology students, where first time din nila maka-use ng micropipette. No? So most of these are secondary teachers, high school teachers teaching biology, and they have difficulty sharing to their students topics such as biotechnology and genetic engineering and PCR. And if you are able to equip these teachers, ripple effect yan sa students sila ay mag-multiply several times. That's why if there is an opportunity for me to provide training to teachers, I always say a yes to them. Because whatever investment na binigay mo sa kanila ay definitely yan ay mag-multiply several times sa kanilang mga students. So these are my doctoral students. Some of them, majority of them have already graduated from their science education degree. Now, another part that getting the second and the third grant, this was on 2019. So I had another call from Jed. This was through a communication by the former dean, Jose Nemesio Granada, standing in front. He requested me to make a proposal in behalf of the College of Medicine and present this to Ched. So during that time, this is a pre-pandemic stage, stage, and then the presentation is actually face-to-face. So within 2 or 3 days, I have to go to Manila and make the presentation. And this call from Ched is actually specific for medical schools. So all the medical schools in the country were given the opportunity to make a proposal and present it in front of them. This is again a Ched Institutional Development and Innovation Grant for medical schools. The main purpose is for medical schools to upgrade their teaching lab. And so the ceiling for the proposal was set at 12 million. But when I observed the other universities in school presented, hindi nila sinasagad yung budget. And then I took it as an opportunity. So there is an excess budget. And then I made list of items. Ano pa bang mga items na kailangan namin sa lab na wala kami, HPLC, multimode reader, additional qPCR machine. Yung medyo lumobo yung budget na ginawa ko, naging 17.5. So I just presented it anyway, and it was granted by Ched. And we were very happy na we had an additional 5.5 million on top of the 12 million. So it was approved. And then we used it to establish the College of Medicine Research Lab. And now there was a problem already because yung first Ched grant, the title of that project is Establishment of Biotechnology Research and Training Center, and it was actually approved. And here comes another research lab from the College of Medicine, and they were asking me also to head the lab, and there is difficulty for me on my part. So I suggested that we should merge the two labs together, and the president, a medical doctor, Dr. Joselito Villaluz, approved my request, and so I merged the two labs to make it a bigger lab. On top of that 2019 Ched IDIG grant, we had another RD lead project from DOST, spearheaded by the former Vice President Lulu Loyola and Dean Granada. So with the RD lead project, we were able to get the services of and the expertise of Dr. Jonel Saludes of University of San Agustin. He was our focal person and resource person for designing the floor plan of the proposed lab. He also provided capacity building and proposal writing, to our medical doctors that are faculty members also of the college. And with that, the College of Medicine soon realized that their vision of creating a lab slowly nagiging makatotohanan na. And the last grant that I received, the third one, is the biggest grant that we received, was the CHED Smart Campus Grant, 25 million in 2021. Now, remember during that time, there was no face-to-face classes, and majority and almost all of the schools in the Philippines were doing virtual classes. And so CHED from the Bayanihan 2 project, again, requested for call from all the universities to submit a proposal related to Smart Campus. Now, the Smart Campus are characterized by IT infrastructure, connectivity, use of learning management system. But on 2021, the West Visayas State University has already an established IT infrastructure. We already have our fiber optics. We already have made provisions to purchase a learning management system. And so again, my interest for upgrading our robotic tools kicked in. And so I said, why don't I use that money to establish a smart lab instead? So smart lab is pasok siya dun sa smart campus concept kasi it's cloud connected, automation, big data, digitalized. So that's how I formulated my proposal for the smart lab. So smart lab for science, mathematics, instruction, parang ganun. So with that project, we were able to purchase automated systems like our liquid handling, our cloud connected liquid handling robot. We were also able to avail of subscription for a MATLAB campus-wide. So this is a computing tool for the math and sciences. All students with WVSU email can have a full access to the MATLAB software. So that satisfies the requirement of CHED for Smart Campus. So we have the merging the first biotech and the new COM research lab. Okay, so let's, at this point, I'm going to present the College of Medicine, Biotechnology, and Biomedical Research Lab. It's a very beautiful college. Okay, let me just use the laser pointer. So ito po yung main building ng Rojas Hall. Ito po yung Rojas Hall Annex Building. And nasa 4th floor po yung location ng lab where I am speaking to you right now. And then soon to rise, we have another 4-story building parallel to this building. And then at the back, we have another building rising. So there's a lot of progress going on at the College of Medicine. And here is the floor plan of our lab. As Dr. Saludes helped us design the floor plan. Also, we have a lot of members in the committee composed of medical doctors and expert in biorisk, biosecurity. Okay, so allow me to present the mission and vision of the lab. Since now our mission and vision is very ambitious now. So we want to be a renowned research center in Western Visayas capable of producing quality research that can impact the community. So the mission is to develop an environment of scientific research for primarily our students, faculty, and investigators as a response to the current and future needs of the community. And our strategies. We have, number one, utilize the latest technology and innovation for conducting cutting-edge research. Notice that I didn't pinpoint any technology because I do not know what technology will exist in the future. But currently, we have genomics, cloud computing, AI, robotics, or automation as our technology to be adopted. Number two, provide an environment that encourages creativity and collaboration among stakeholders of the university. Number three, support the various curricular programs of the university in the field of medicine and allied fields. So for number 3, we support, of course, our medical program. The College of Medicine is the #1 medical school in the region. And of course, it manages the WVSU Medical Center, where our faculty also act as specialists in our university hospital. So we have the best medical doctors in the region, in the college, and that would naturally present a research niche. Anong pinaka-obvious niche for us is medical research. And this research niche was actually suggested to me by Dr. Tony Laurena when I asked him, "Sir, ano po ba yung magandang research niche pagbalik ko doon sa Iloilo?" And then he paused for a moment and then he told me medical research, which is very correct. And so I pursued that. And also, I received a very, very strong admin support from the College of Medicine. That's why it's worth pursuing. Okay, administration. So the lab is, or the lab, we call it the Biotechnology and Biological Research. Biotechnology and Biomedical Research Lab, or BBRL, is managed with the College of Medicine. And then you have a broken lines from the Vice President for Research, Innovation, and Training. The staff are the lab head. I'm the first lab head designated for this assignment. Then I have with me some research staff, research associate, 3 lab technicians, a lab aide, and research assistant. Here are my personnel. I would like to give them a one slide. Now, I want to recognize their hard work in helping me build a startup lab. There's always a challenge when you are doing things for the first time kasi there's no clear guidelines in the university when I was proposing this one. And they have to brush up their guidelines. And these people are that work hard for us to set up the lab. We have Mr. JT Declarador, is the lab tech for the chemistry lab. Is a registered chemical technician. Then we have Miss Ana Maria Cheffi, my lab technician for microbiology. She is a registered medical technologist and international medical lab scientist. Then I have my former biotech student. Now he is my lab technician, John Kelly G. Padernilla, a Bachelor of Science in Biology, major in biotechnology. And then I have also with me is Miss Judy M. Failagutan, our research associate, who provides all the admin support that the lab needs. So these are the people behind the operations of the lab. And of course, as an evidence na masaya sila sa lab, I gave this picture. So my role is simple. No, I don't contact them on weekend. They can rest what they want unless it's very important. And there's no work. My policy is actually no work during lunch break. Just get your break, get a coffee break. Whatever you do, just schedule it na walang magtatrabaho during lunch break. Okay, now let me present to you the lab. I don't have the complete picture, but the lab is divided into 3 smaller labs. The chemistry laboratories. We have, of course, we need to have a chemistry lab. We're not purely a genomics or mol bio lab, since the medical students have a pharma subject and they are required to conduct research on pharma. And this is also in demand to other programs such as the BS Biology. We have Rotavaps, HPLC, UV-Vis spectrophotometer. Negative 80 has been very instrumental in storage of vaccines. Then we have the microbiology lab. We have biosafety cabinet class 2. We have different types of incubators, shaking. We have a CO2 incubator that needs to be installed because we're planning to set up a mammalian cell culture lab. We also have a multi-mode microplate reader, ultra pure water system, refrigerated microcentrifuge, a lot of micropipettes, and automated cell imaging. And then for our molecular biology lab, where majority of automated equipment is located, we have the endpoint PCR. This red one is the gift of Sir Tony. Ito yung AJ Biometran na pinadala niya sa akin. Then we have several real-time qPCR machines. We have the small, then we have the old qPCR machine. Of course, then I have the new one. Then we have fragment analyzer. We have the Agilent. We have 3 liquid handlings in the lab that facilitates our PCR, qPCR prep. We have the automated nucleic acid extractor, Promega Maxwell, fluorometer, gel doc, gel electrophoresis. Then we have our latest installation. We have the Oxford Nanopore sequencer, where we do our whole genome sequencing. And then last week, we just completed our training, in-house training for the Promega Sanger sequencer and fragment analyzer. So last week lang kami nag-run. The positive control as a good, maganda yung result namin sa positive control, but our samples needs optimization because we didn't expect na kailangan pala ng mga purification kit in between. So I was not prepared for that. So we need to get a good suggested brand based on the protocol. So I guess that was our problem. But we had the first one last week, Thursday and Friday. Okay, so that's our liquid handling. Okay, on the software tools, we also have some tools, subscriptions that we were able to get from our grant from the Smart Campus. We have the Genius full version software where we do our analysis. I have 3 subscriptions of this. Then I have SnapGene for molecular biology for cloning. We also have the MATLAB campus-wide subscription. And of course, to help us in the lab to facilitate everything, inventory, we have lab management system, cloud-based. We have the eLab Next. So these are all the software. Since konti lang kasi kami sa lab, so I rely heavily on these tools to facilitate all our work without overworking our people. Okay, for accomplishments. For the record, our lab was BOR approved only last December 2022. December 14, if I remember it right. It was BOR approved. But even before the BOR approval, we did soft opening of the lab. We have already catered to the needs of our students. So we perform a lot of mentoring of WBSU students, mostly undergraduate BS biology students. We also did research consultancy for secondary, undergraduate, graduate, and faculty research of WBSU and outside of WBSU. And during the height of the pandemic, the lab provided the venue for the training of COVID-19 RT-PCR test in collaboration with PGC Visayas. So we trained a lot of medtechs. Again, also we have resources support. Our hospital, the WVSU Medical Center, has a molecular lab where they conducted COVID-19 testing. But at the earlier days, when they were still setting up, they borrowed us, pinahiram namin sila ng PCR cabinet and some micropipettes for them to quickly set up and get approved, no, para makapag-test din sila. Yung freezer namin ay napuno ng test kit during that time. Punong-puno ng COVID-19 test kit. And then we also did a lot of training of medical staff. No? So those are just some accomplishment. Now, if I summarize, by last year, 2022, we trained 250 students. No? Were able to perform their laboratory exercises, particularly PCR, in the lab. We served 250 students just for the PCR lab. All of the freshman medical students and all of the graduating BS biology students were the participants of those training. Kasi, of course, we need to train our future doctors on the available tools in the lab, as well as also for them in the future when they conduct research. We want to encourage them to pursue doing research even when they become a medical doctor, which is very important. And for our BS biology students, many of them in their earlier years, third year, second year, wherein they conducted online classes, were not able to perform any hands-on lab. So I offered, okay, so will you be interested for a face-to-face hands-on lab para lang ma-compensate yung nawalang time na hindi sila nakapag hands-on. So all in all, I counted about 250 students. Current capability. Okay, so our current capability, we have sample prep by bead beating. We can do low to medium throughput using our automated nucleic acid extraction. We can do DNA, RNA, protein quantification by spectrophotometer or fluorometer. DNA analysis via gel electrophoresis fragment analysis. We have also performed in the past student undergraduate thesis, DNA barcoding, microorganism, molecular identification. We have gene detection using endpoint PCR, qPCR, RT-PCR. And lately, I'll just highlight the DNA sequencing by Sanger and NGS. Actually, mas nauna pa yung data namin from the NGS, no? Kasi wala pa kami kasing reagent noon for Sanger. We were still waiting for it. So mas nauna pa si SARS-CoV-2 whole genome sequencing. And just last week lang na-complete si Sanger. And actually, we can now describe to you the difference between the two workflows kasi we're doing it personally in-house in the lab. Then still, we need to exploit our cell imaging. And then we have our liquid handling automation. Now, our liquid handling automation is very unique because we have two different brands of liquid handling. The other one is cloud connected, the other one is not. And for my OJT students, now our BS biology specialization in biotech track, I train them how to run and develop their own protocol using our cloud connected liquid handling. And you will be surprised on how quickly they are able to run the robot independently, not to mention the many aha moments when they saw that their protocol was executed correctly. And so many others current capability na maybe for some these are just basic, but for me, they are very, very useful for instruction because again, they create enthusiasm and interest in our students. Current research activity. So I'll just highlight some. Our ongoing project funded by DOST Region 6 in collaboration with our medical center, headed by Dr. Ana Victoria Sumpong of the Molecular Lab, identification of SARS-CoV-2 variants of concern among COVID-19 patients admitted at the WVSU Medical Center. Then we have genetic profile among retinoblastoma patient in Western Visayas in collaboration with Dr. Eva Catedral. I also did a DNA extraction as requested by Dr. Pinky Carmona Barrera. She is a medical doctor with specialization in rare diseases. And so she has this patient na gusto niya ipa-analyze whole genome with her collaborator in Texas. So ang main concern niya at that time was sending blood samples. It's logistically difficult. And so she requested me to extract genomic DNA instead, which is easier to ship outside, and we did. And then what else? So other than medical, ongoing is the genetic diversity of our very own Darag native chicken using microsatellite markers, which is actually the very first problem that was presented to me when I graduated from LP. No, there was this now retired professor. She coined the term Darag. She was the first to use the term Darag. And she told me that hindi nila maipaparegister sa DA itong Darag kung walang genetic studies. And that was the problem that they have been trying to figure out. And then they gave it to me. And hopefully at the end of this year, we will be able to complete this project. Now, another thing that I would like to highlight is my collaboration also with the UP Visayas, under Professor Sherwin Iscayo, screening of quorum sensing inhibition assay. Then, of course, itong pinaka-latest actually is the establishment of genome sequencing unit of our very own medical center, which is for me is very inspiring kasi in the hospital, they wanted to have their own genome sequencing unit. So this will be directly affecting on how they diagnose their patient, cancer profiling, biosurveillance. And that's why we always do it. Whenever I have an in-house training, I always invite this group because I know na pag na-inspire ko sila, and then they do whatever tools or skills that they obtain from those training, they will use it sa mga patient natin, mga indigent. And for me, that is very inspiring. And that is for me is a very good accomplishment kasi hindi lang skills, kundi pati yung lab setup gusto nila meron sila to. They want to do whole genome sequencing. Okay, now the challenges are always there, actually, from the start and then even up to now. And so I would just like to highlight some of the challenges that I encountered when I was getting my first grant as the main proponent. Of course, is the lack of adequate and appropriate lab space. So that was the first challenge, because all of the buildings in the campus are designed for offices. Hindi siya designed for laboratory. And specifically, for example, yung dimensions ng pinto. Yung usual na dimension ng pinto ay makakapasok kay tao lang, pero hindi pwedeng ipasok yung biofreezer, biosafety cabinet, chemical fume hood. So those are the challenges na hindi na-incorporate sa pag-construct ng building kasi hindi naman siya primarily dinesign for lab. So we need to do renovations. Okay, and then when that time came, yung current location ng lab, the College of Medicine spent budget in renovating this, including everything, the fixtures, ideal for a lab setup. Now you have the lab space. The second problem is the big headache for me was the logistics of moving the equipment to a new location from the ground floor of a distant building. You will move everything into the fourth floor. And good thing is that the building has a cargo elevator. So that's one thing. But kahit na yung logistics, yung scheduling ng mga tao, how you prepare your equipment, how you pack everything, hindi kasi siya parang lipat bahay lang, na lahat lalagay mo lang sa box, as dilipat mo. You have to take into considerations your analytical equipment. The third, of course, is additional staff. We have a big lab, and then that time I only have an RA, and then I had the College of Medicine hired one lab tech. So there are only 3 of us. So the next year, they hired 2 additional staff. And currently, ang isa sa mga na-notice ko na pinaka-need actually is a maintenance person. One who knows how to troubleshoot, how to maintain, how to check equipment. Second is bioinformatician. We're now generating next-gen sequencing data, which is a big data. So we need somebody, a dedicated person that will take a look into the data. And then third, of course, the lab manager now manages the day-to-day operation. Those are the challenges. Then fourth are regular calibration and maintenance of equipment. The lab served as a service lab for some clinical trials conducted by some of our medical doctors on vaccine development. There was one particular clinical trial funded by the Gates Foundation, wherein they want to develop a vaccine for tuberculosis. And so the the principal investigator contacted me, and we did an agreement. And after they have collected all the blood samples, it will be stored in the -80 biofreezer, and they will do initial processing of the blood, centrifugation. And so that was the first income generating activity of the lab. No? So just basic sample storage and initial processing. However, since they are doing this in behalf of their sponsor, they need certification, calibration certificate. Where for a regular research work, you don't really need that. But if you want to provide this kind of service, dapat meron kang calibration report and maintenance report of the equipment that they are using. And then fifth, we have another problem that I encountered is kasi dumadami na yung equipment and then yung supply sa loob ng lab, medyo masakit sa ulo din yung keeping track of things. No? So we need to have an inventory of lab equipment, consumables, and lab protocols. And yung sagot ko dyan ay yung subscription ko, yung lab management system na ginagamit. I have, we subscribe for 3 users. So my lab technicians will update whatever equipment, whatever supplies that comes in. And then of course, another issue, another challenge is sustainability. The reagents, no, the consumables that you would be using, the renewal of the subscription, saan manggagaling yung mga funds na to? And so we need to have an income generating, and that through clinical trials. And of course, may inaalat din na budget sa akin yung College of Medicine plus our in-house project na mga grant. Diyan nanggagaling yung mga source of funds. And then lastly, actually, since we're the only research lab in the university, there's high demand for our students to access the lab to conduct the research. And I do wish that the other proposed lab, the analytical chemistry lab, will soon be set up so we can cater to everybody's needs. So yung temporary remedy ko lang dito for high demand is scheduling of activities. We need to be very strict about the scheduling of our activities. Now, before I end, I would like also to acknowledge the contributions of the committee members that helped us set up the lab, write the standard operating procedure of the lab. They helped me defend our proposal for the BR approval of the lab, starting, of course, with our university president, Dr. Joselito F. Villaruz, the former dean of the College of Medicine, Dr. Jose Nemesio Granada, the former associate dean, Dr. Emilia Mendoza, members of the members of the committee, which included Dr. Marie Grace Don Isidro, also Dr. Greta Gabinetti, our current vice president for research, the current dean of the College of Medicine, Dr. Victor Amantilio. We have the research head of the College of Medicine, Dr. Charmaine Malata, and our biosafety and biosecurity officers of the college, Ma'am Eden Salazar and Dr. Maria Iris Salazar, and other people, no, that I failed to mention. Our actually the back is also very helpful. The procurement, I highly recommend that you develop a good teamwork play with your procurement office, because they will facilitate they can fast track the procurement process. When you have a CHED grant, you only have 12 months. So you need to have a good communication with these people. And so that ends my presentation. I don't know, probably na medyo na-overshoot ako sa time. But those are the stories. Now it might not be complete, but essentially those are the things that happen and how we set up the lab. It's not like a month after or a day after. It took a lot of effort and troubleshooting, and of course failures. But again, if you have a team of supportive people, there's nothing that you cannot achieve. So with that, thank you very much po sa pakikinig. I hope may na-inspire din ako. Magandang araw po sa lahat.
Thank you very much, Sir Stephen. Wow. Yes, truly you have inspired us. Siguro at this time, there are lots of questions and probably mga sana all. Kanina I just said sana all. Probably by this time, siguro, how to be you na po. No? These are some of the things that are in our mind. At this point, may I recognize academician Dr. Evelyn May Mendoza. I saw Ma'am May's name on the
Hello,
list of
May.
participants. Hello, Ma'am May. Thank you so much. Another very passionate teacher. Ma'am May, thank you po. And at this point, may I read what Sir Tony pinasabi niya sa kay Jeric, no? Gigi and Steph. Gigi is Dr. Moncada. Gigi was my classmate also in UPLB. And so here is what Sir Tony said. Gigi and Steph, I am proud of what you have achieved in your respective labs in the Visayas region. Keep up the good work and may the Visayas region have many more Kuya Steps and Ate Gigi. God bless you. From Sir Tony.
Sir
Thank you very
Tony.
much, Sir Tony.
Thank you, Sir
Thank you, Sir
Tony.
We are
Sir
always
Tony.
grateful for this, our professors who have not only been patient with us, but during the time we were in the institutions where we went to for our graduate programs, but even beyond that, no, even until now. So, Sir Stephen and Ma'am Gigi, here are some questions for you. May I read one? And first, no, from Sir Renz Orville Caidoy. Hello po. May I ask how much is the range of your fees there in UEP to be paid by outsiders or other schools in conducting lab? Ano ba? Hindi ko makita. In conducting laboratory test experiments. Ma'am Gigi, this is for you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Doc Vives, Ate Vivian, and the rest of the PSBMB organizing committee for this event. And for the question, we have actually already set up the access to the policies and rules in accessing the laboratory. But meanwhile, we have not yet started setting up fees for our external users for the lab, because we are actually working on the project. So we don't have enough reagents yet for external laboratory analysis. So but we will soon, with the current head of the lab, Ma'am Pertkinesa Ambida, who is in charge of the recent activities of the lab, will inform her about this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Gigi. One question from Ma'am Flora Irad of Silliman University. May I ask, does your lab offer services on lab training to outsider? Thanks. Siguro na-answer na ni Ma'am
It's already
Gigi,
a
no?
part. It's already a part
Maybe-
of the. It's already a part of the mission of the laboratory.
Okay. Si Sir Stephen siguro pwede rin maka-answer.
Ay, yes po. Okay, so for us, no, yung sa mga rates, sa fees, it has to be approved first by the BOR. So if you have any inquiries regarding access to the lab, I would probably strongly suggest that you email to me And then usually nagre-request ako ng copy if it is a student research, I ask a copy of your proposal so I can actually assess better kaysa sagutin ko diretso yung how much ang ganito. Kasi may mga things na you can do it by bundle, no? Parang kumbaga hindi lang siya isang protocol. So I would suggest that you email directly. And for trainings naman, I have catered already, but although majority is mga students namin, for outside training, maybe we can do some memorandum of agreement to make things official, and we can schedule trainings na pwede namin i-provide sa lab. And also, ang tawag nito, the lab is also open for benchmarking. You know, I understand that some colleges, SUCs as far as Mindanao, they want to set up their own medical school, and they would come to WVSU because we're the #1 medical school here, and they would benchmark in the lab. We were welcome actually, kahit walang letter, biglang may dumadating, we accommodate. So just give us an email. I'm very responsive naman ako sa email.
Thank you, Sir Stephen. Meron isang tanong, and somehow you have made mention of this earlier in your talk, Sir Steph. For both speakers, have you met any challenges regarding procurement procedures during the setting up of your respective labs? If so, what tips or lessons can you share with us on overcoming such nuances?
Mauna ako?
Sige, G.
Actually, that's the bottleneck of establishing a laboratory. That's the first actually bottleneck. Kasi hindi mo ma-set up yung lab kung walang mabibili or walang i-deliver. So actually sa school namin sa UEP, it happens that the implementation of the project was during the pandemic. So certainly it was the very first reason on the delay of the delivery of the equipments. And second, because UEP is not yet known for researches along our line by chemistry and molecular biology. Kaya walang masyadong nakakakilala dun sa school namin. Kaya nahirapan kaming humanap ng mga supplier. So doon pa lang, so ako all the while, kasi neophyte din ako sa pag-establish ng mga projects about procurement. So nung una, hinahayaan ko lang yung back kung ano yung mga decisions na gagawin nila, kung ano yung mga steps. So nagpa-follow up naman ako, pero hindi ganun closely siguro na ginawa ni Steph. Na very close yung pag-follow up. Kasi ako, I was really very, dependent naman dun sa amin. Kasi magkakakilala naman. Pero, I learned a lot of things actually. Minsan sabi ko, ayoko na lang, pero
don't discourage.
ayoko na lang, pero hindi pwedeng mag-ayoko na lang kasi nandyan ka na, tapos yung paano ka napunta sa vision na yan kung wala yung mga member ng advisory board mo at saka ng mga colleagues and peers mo at saka ng mga students mo. So parang yung nasa likod ko na lab, actually, siya na yung nasa harap. Hindi na ako, dapat nasa likod na siya. Yung background ko ngayon na nakikita niyo. So nasa likod na niya po ako, siya na po dapat ang nasa harap. So thank you, UEP, University of Eastern Philippines. I'm very proud of you and I love you wherever I may be.
Thank you, Ma'am Gigi. Sir Stephen?
Yes, that's a very, very good question actually. The usual problem kasi naririnig ko every time sa government procurement is yung procurement office nyo or yung PAC. And as I mentioned earlier, yung success ng pag-set up ng isang lab, especially if you are a startup lab, is you need to be a team player that includes everybody, and half of that would probably be the procurement people. You should realize na yung mga binibili kasi nating mga equipment, these are not office equipment. These are very technical equipment, reagents, na sometimes hindi na intindihan ng mga nagpo-process doon sa procurement office. And so to facilitate, fast track yung procurement, I have to do several preparations first before I print the purchase request. Number one, I have to do extensive market study. What is currently available in the market? For example, si qPCR machine. Ano pang magagandang brand na meron dyan sa market. Second, you must know your application. So, syempre, lahat naman ng machine, PCR machine, they almost have the same function. Now, you have to go to some minute details na kailangan mong i-consider. For example, I wanted a machine that have a CFR Part 11 compliant software. Kasi I am gearing towards an ISO accreditation in the future. So not all machines have that kind of feature. So that is my differentiating technical specs para makuha ko yung isa at hindi yung mga ibang items.
Sorry.
And then also I consider the supplier as partners. I don't call them seller or whatever. I call them partners kasi these people will help you in the long run. For example, they'll be the one that you talk to frequently. Ito yung specs, ito yung deadline. Kailangang mahabol natin yung deadline. Dumating na si equipment kasi nagpapatawag na si Chet ng terminal report. So those interplay of things, your partners, your staff at the procurement office, your exhaustive market study, pagdating doon sa bidding na, madali na. Kasi alam mo na kung anong gusto mo. So pag may nag-offer man dyan ng 10, siyam nun, tanggal. Kasi alam mo yung alam mo yung kailangan mo. That's na-explain mo din sa kanila. Bakit ganyan? Kasi ito, kailangan ko mag-ISO, kailangan ko ng remote monitoring, kailangan ko ng auditing report. So wala yan. So yan yung hard work na kailangan i-put in mo before mo i-print yung first purchase request. And that helped me facilitated all the procurement within like kahit 12 months siya na nahahabol naman. Nahahabol naman. So it's a blessing din na maganda yung relationship namin ng procurement office namin.
Thank you, Sir Stephen. Thank you very much for opening our eyes to a lot of things. Now, I can accommodate this last question from Ma'am Jeneline Malabag. Good day po. How much po ang fee sa DNA barcoding per sample? Siguro, any of you,
wala pa po kaming rates.
Okay. Si Sir Stephen.
Sige. Depende po kasi pag barcoding po ba ng plants or animals kasi magkaiba kasi yung protocol sa dalawang dyan. And based on my personal experience, mas mahirap kasi i-barcode si plants. Medyo kailangan mo i-optimize muna yung DNA isolation process. And so it depends on the sample and the number of samples.
Siguro email first,
Yes,
discuss it first with you. From Ma'am Gladys Batan, hindi to question. Congratulations, Dr. Gigi and Dr. Stephen. From Ma'am Beth, congratulations, Dr. Gigi and Dr. Steph. Mighty proud of you. And from academician Ma'am May, congratulations to Dr. Gigi and Dr. Stephen. Galing-galing. Very proud of you. God bless. So ito yung mga
Salamat po, salamat.
Salamat po.
Andyan si Ma'am May. Ma'am May,
galing-galing din
hello
ni Vivian. Hello, Vivian. Ito yung mga estudyante ko, talagang noon kakalat-kalat lang sa labyan.
Yes, ma'am. Walang pansinan kung minsan.
Kasi busy-busy sa ginagawa nila.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm really very proud of the three of you. You went through so many trials as students, and I'm sure as professionals, ganun din ang nangyari, So ang siguro pwede kong i-share. So when I started, I also was the one dealing talking with all the the distributors, looking at all the equipment, and that really takes a lot of time from your work. So you have to develop people. You have to let them grow and let them help you out. So in our lab, when it comes to equipment acquisition, following up, si Tita Cleo yon, di ba?
Yes.
No,
Ako-
and
Ang
Dr.
galing mo.
Beth was helping me in the administration, no, so ng mga projects, and my students were also, the senior ones were junior advisors to the more junior students. So ganon, so you're developing also your students to become mentors. Sila yung junior advisors. So pagka ganon, you are mentoring them, you're sharing your responsibilities, you're able to do a lot more work, ganyan. So tulong-tulong lahat talaga. And we're really very proud of you, no? So President Muji, yung mga estudyante ko to, tatlo na yan.
Akala ko nga po, Ma'am May,
nakakamangha, ma'am, nakakamangha.
Ma'am May, akala ko
Oh.
nga lang po pagbalik ko ng UEP after MS and PhD ay mag-experiment lang ako. But then again, sabi ko, saan? Baka hindi na ako papayagan umalis. Alis ako ng alis. So, might as well, nung nagkita kami ng Vice President natin for Israel, si Dr. Pio Tuan, when I visited him, sabi niya, "O Gigi, anong sa atin?" Sabi ko, "Sir, bibisita lang." Sabi niya. Sabi ko, anong maitutulong ko sa iyo?" Sabi niya. Sabi niya agad-agad, punta natin yung lab yung building sa kabila na sira, kung anong gagawin natin doon. Sabi niya, ano ito? As in, super sira na hindi mo mawari. Mga itsura naming dumi, ang daming kalat, ang daming ng mga kahoy. Ito sabi ko na lang, "Sir, for a start, this is very good." And then,
talagang ganyan.
buti naman din, blessing in disguise yung typhoon, nagkaroon ng funding ang UEP from CHED. So binigyan ni ni President De Lorino ng funding sa research ng 2 million, around 2 million I guess. Sabi ni Sir Pio, Gigi, go na. Sabi ko, "Sir, gura na." So ayun, tapos dalawang transition ng presidency, dumating na si President Cherry Ultra, siya na yung nag-bless ng building.
Wow.
Oo,
Very
tapos.
nice.
So, yun
Magaling.
po.
Di ba? Braving
So,
the
salamat
storms
din kay
talaga.
Dr. Ronely Salvador kasi kung hindi yung project namin na sa Salog, sa NRCP, hindi malalagyan ng equipment yung lab. So, yun po yung nag-propel ng mission ng IRL, yung NRCP funding.
Yeah.
So, we are very grateful from NRCP.
Oo. Yeah.
Thank you so
So,
much.
ngayon naman ang challenge sa inyo to be able to utilize the laboratories to the fullest for many, for a lot of people na masaservan niya, estudyante, researchers. In the case of Steph, no, nasa medical center pala siya. So, ang laki-laki ng gamit talaga noon. Sorry, Gigi, I came very late, no? So,
Okay lang po.
So yun talaga yung kasi kapag ka nagre-review kami, tinatanong namin paano na utilize, no? So the more they're utilized, the better. And pagka naka 2 years na yung equipment nyo, think of gawa na ulit ng proposal for the replacement kasi alam nyo 3 years, 4 years lang dapat na mari-replace na. So you can also consider Department of Agriculture kung agriculture related sa biotech program. Dr. Muji?
Sir,
Kagaling ng ating mga
thank you all.
estudyante.
Thank you all for the inspiration, Ma'am, and to the rest of our
Oo.
mentors, and to the PSBMB who holds the promise of the PSBMB graduates of the Philippines.
Sige, salamat.
Thank you
Ma'am,
po.
just to think na during the time of COVID, si Sir Steph nakakuha ng 25M na grant approved. Grabe, during the time of COVID, ha. So, mga incredible
Congrats,
talaga.
Right.
Oo. So, at this time, I would like to award, as a form of appreciation to our speakers, we will award this certificate of appreciation, and may I read the citation for, okay, Ma'am Gigi. The Philippine Society of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology presents this certificate of appreciation to Dr. Geraldine P. Moncada in grateful recognition for her invaluable contribution as speaker during the webinar for the 50th PSBMB Annual Convention, Breaking Ground, the Tales of Two Premier BMB Laboratories in the Visayas, held virtually via Zoom on March 27, 2023. To be signed by Roberta N. Garcia, PhD, Chair of PSBMB Education Committee, BOD member of PSBMB, and Academician Mujikiwis D. Santos, PhD, President of PSBMB. Congratulations and thank you very much, Ma'am Gigi, Dr. Geraldine P. Moncada.
Thank
The
you so much
same-
po.
Yes, and the same certificate goes to Dr. Stephen G. Sabinay of West Visayas State University. So, Sir Muji, okay, thank you very
Thank you
much.
po.
Thank you very much. So, Ma'am Beth, you need to be here with us sa awarding of certificate. Can you
Yes,
open
wait a while. I'm starting my video.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tita Beth.
You're welcome. You're most welcome. We are very, very proud of you. Being parang better, or hindi na parang totoo na better than your mentors in terms of building the story.
message from Marivic Doncillo? Congratulations po, Ma'am Gigi.
Okay, so
and
I'm
Sir
here na.
Stephen. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'd like to reiterate our thanks to Dr. May Mendoza, Ma'am May. Thank you for gracing our and for the insightful how to say
Inspiration.
related to us. Thank you very much. And also, I'd like also to thank at this point, Ma'am Vivian, pasensya sa ano.
Thank you. Thank you.
But I'd like to recognize the presence of our colleagues from NRCP who are here to support our very own Dr. Geraldine Moncada.
Thank you. Thank you,
Everyone who are
NRCP.
here present. Thank you very much. So at this point, we'd like to thank our very able, efficient moderator, Dr. Vivian,
Salamat din.
for moderating our webinar this morning. And our certificate of appreciation reads, the certificate of appreciation is presented to Dr. Vivian A. Topor in grateful recognition for her invaluable contributions as moderator during the webinar for the 50th PSBMB Annual Convention, Breaking Ground, the Tales of Two Premier BMB Laboratories in the Visayas, held virtually via Zoom on March 27, 2023. Signed by myself and our PSBMB President, Dr. Mujikiwis D. Santos, PhD. Ma'am Vivian, thank you very, very much.
Thank you too. Thank you, PSBMB. Ma'am Beth, there's a question here. May certificate daw po ba to from a participant?
Yes, our very able online course coordinator will provide to all of you. Miss Chan.
What about evaluation daw po?
Evaluation, Chan, do we have one?
Chan?
Daw pong evaluation. Titingnan natin siya.
Maybe ask po for the link sa evaluation.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for that questions and reminders.
Okay. Sabi po, we'll send via email.
Okay.
So please watch out for the evaluation, which will be exchanged with a certificate of participation.
Kaliwaan tayo.
Thank you very much.
All right, so every good things naman kay nagkakasayang kwentuhan natin, but we have
Steph, congrats.
But
Congrats.
wait a while, we still have Dr. Leslie Michelle Dalmasio, who will give the closing remarks. Dr. Dalmasio is the co-chair of the PSBMB Education Committee and the immediate past president of PSBMB. She is a professor at the Department of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology at the College of Medicine, UP Manila. She is also concurrently the director of the National Graduate Office for the Health Sciences of UPM. She is recognized over significant researchers focusing on the human microbiome and probiotic studies, which help elucidate the community structure and role of these microorganisms in health and disease. Okay, so Ma'am Leslie, the virtual floor is yours.
Magandang araw po sa PSBMB BOD and members of the society, to our partners from the Department of Agriculture and the Biotechnology Coalition of the Philippines, to our participants in the online biotech course, to our guests and our esteemed speakers. I could say that the webinar this morning is a good start for the week. The talks of Dr. Moncada and Dr. Sabinay on how their research facilities were built are truly inspiring. On its 50th year, PSBMB highlights the golden and growing biochemistry and molecular biology field in the country. Successes such as that of the University of Eastern Philippines and the Western Visayas State University are what we want to highlight in PSBMB. These are gold nuggets in Philippine biochemistry and molecular biology. As you know, research in the country is a challenging and arduous activity. Thus, we want not only trained scientists, but also brave souls to promote and establish modern labs to support research capacity building. PSBMB commends the UEP and WVSU for the growing research in the Visayas region. We hope that with these two institutions, along with the Philippine Genome Center in the Visayas and the University of San Agustin Research Centers and Laboratories, the gold mine in the Visayas region will expand. To our training participants and PSBMB members, I hope you have been inspired by the talks. We encourage you to collaborate with PSBMB members in whatever form of capacity building. You may also request PSBMB for particular capacity building activities you need. We hope that next time, you will be the ones featured in this kind of webinar. On behalf of the PSBMB Board of Directors, huge thanks to the Visayas chapter, led by Dr. Vivian Topor, and the Education Committee of PSBMB for organizing this webinar. Thank you to our attendees for choosing to spend your Monday morning with us. I hope you can join us in future Breaking Ground webinars. I wish everyone a productive week ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Les. So we really had a very productive morning, very challenging, but there is always the promise of being able to overcome these challenges and go to the height of success towards helping our community and our country. And at this point, I would like to also recognize the presence of Ms. Mars and Barogo of the DABPO, who is constantly helping us in our endeavors. Ma'am Mars, thank you for your presence. We also would like to request each one to open your cams for a brief photo op before we leave the seminar. Okay. At the count of 3. John, will you please do the honors? So smile. 1, 2, 3. All right. So before we sign off, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today and also invite you to be members of PSBMB. Just visit www.psbmb.org slash bare, sorry, membership for more information. So
Yes.
grow with us and grow with us as we move on to the next 50 years of PSBMB. For more information, follow us as well on our Facebook page and visit our website to join our activities towards the 50th Annual Convention on November 28 to 29, 2023 at the Manila Hotel. Feel free to reach out to us via email psbmb.ph@gmail.com if you're interested or want to know more. We'll see you next time. And again, thank you very much for making this webinar success.